All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to everyone listening to this episode. I'm sure you guys clicked on this because you guys are interested in to become a businessman or businesswoman, or you guys are interested in entrepreneurship, and maybe you guys are even interested to start your own businesses in the future. So this episode is definitely for you guys. And we just like to remind everyone that we had an episode just released a few minutes ago. It's the Clubhouse Sports episode where we played golf. And if you guys are interested in sports or in golf, then watch that episode. It's a really fun one. But if you guys are new here to the Clubhouse, you're in the right place if you want to become successful, receive free mentorship about the various industries from top tier professionals, and reach all your dreams. Here at the Clubhouse, we delve deeper into the lives of successful individuals in different career paths and how you can do the same. So, welcome to the Clubhouse, where successful people are born and made to inspire others. Before we begin, I just want to remind everyone. I want to remind everyone to subscribe to our YouTube and listen to our Spotify. And my name is Miguel Mendoza.
And I'm Zach Pena. So today, as always, I'm very excited for our special guest. He is a chairman at Laboram. He is also the CEO of Act Media Philippines. He's a president at Red Basket and many more. He's also the chairman of Endeavor Philippines. He is also overseeing 6 operating companies. He has invested in over 100 companies globally. He currently has 11 mentees. He is currently also chairing 2 nonprofit organizations, and he is incubating 2 startups. So, yeah, everybody please welcome Jasen Ko. Hi, Jason.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Zach. Good to see you, Miguel. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So, as always, as how we start off our episodes, we want to know what's your journey, what's your story for you specifically in entrepreneurship and with business?
Okay, that's a great question. How much time do you guys have? I think if I think back to it, it started with my father. So my father never finished college, right? He actually started in ICA because there was no Xavier school then. And then when Xavier opened, all the boys from ICA moved to Xavier, right? He was a scholar, grew up in a sari-sari store. Then my lola, or in Chinese, my ama, would push a fruit cart, right? And my father grew up there. And the 2 people I know in this world who can actually peel a fruit without breaking the skin, whether it's a pineapple or an apple or so on, are them. They try to pass it on down to me, but unfortunately, I do not have that skill set. So watching my father grow up and watch him go from being a non-college grad to working in a company, and then climbing that up from starting like a low rank to becoming head of sales, eventually heading the company and becoming an owner, was incredibly inspirational for me. So I remember us in grade 5, and then there's this question, like they made us write an essay. They said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Kind of that question, right? And I remember I wrote there, I wanted to be a businessman. Hindi pa uso yung word na entrepreneur nun eh. Tsaka it's harder to spell, diba? So businessman na lang. And I remember when I got to 3rd year college, it was a class in Ateneo, Father Candelaria, a business management class. Again, the question was asked at the start of the SEM, and similar question: what do you want to be when you grow up? And I answered the same thing. This time I used an entrepreneur. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and in fact, I want to have 3 businesses, right? And then the question, bakit tatlo, diba? Parang my thinking then was, if I have one and something goes wrong, I have another, and I have a third one. You never know, right? Always bet in 3s, right? So that you have options. So I think growing up, it's always been something I wanted to do. Just watching my father do it, I wanted to also have my own journey. I felt it was very important that I can be my father's son rather than be my father's employee, and I'd rather have a father than a boss. So today I have a great relationship with my father. I call him for advice. If I get stuck, I need help. I don't call for approvals. Pakisal naman to, or ano. I call for advice, and he mentors me in a lot of ways. And growing up, I guess I feel everybody has, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Ma or Bill Gates. Even growing up, I had my own insecurities. Wasn't really very friendly in grade school. I remember a span of 1 or 2 years. I didn't even really have any friends. I would just hide in the chapel during breaks. That's actually where I discovered, oh, I think I can have a relationship with God here. He's here for me, right? And then going into college, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I started my first business in Ateneo. I remember um, I started selling belts. It was the weave belts that started getting uso. So buy low, sell high, right? I found someone who made it, sold it for a premium. Started making jackets, shorts for clubs, right? For organizations. Neckties was my big thing. I noticed that a lot of seniors and juniors had to do a lot of presentations. And the only game in town back then was Marks and Spencer. It was really expensive. It was like 1,200. And I remember driving my mom to caroling. I don't sing. I can't sing to save my life. If I had to, I'd be dead. I remember driving my mom to caroling, and one of the houses we went to was a tie maker, and he was making neckties for Schumart, right? And I remember asking him, and some of the ties were nice, right? And at that time, kasi the reputation of Schumart was mura siya. It wasn't a cool thing to wear a SM necktie in school, right? So I asked him, "Can I buy neckties from you? And can I put my own brand?" So he said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." So I bought it for $50, and I sold it in school for 250. Right? And I just changed the brand. It's exactly the same tie you're gonna find in Schumart. I just changed the brand. And I remember asking him, if I have a tie that I can't sell in its good condition, can I replace it with another tie? He goes, sure. So basically, I remove the risk, right? And that's what I believe entrepreneurship is about. A lot of people think or define entrepreneurship to be dapat matapang ka, dapat it's like jumping off a cliff and assembling your parachute on the way down. I don't know if you've ever heard that, right? I actually strongly believe that being an entrepreneur is about risk reduction. It's about trying to figure out the easiest path to get there with the least risk that that you're going to be exposed to. So I think that was my first time I ever created anything close to an arbitrage, where if I couldn't sell it, I could just return it and change it for something else. And the second lesson I learned from selling neckties in college was that I remember there were 2 or 3 neckties that was really just ugly, like it's a joke. And I don't know what prompted it, so I picked it up and I put it in the stack of I had a bag, right, like a tash, and I opened it up, and there you go, these nice ties and 2 or 3 really ugly ties. And I don't know if you can guess what happened, Zach and Miguel. I started selling more ties. And my lesson there is, because kung walang pangit, walang maganda. Because these were just so bad looking, so ugly. It was a joke. It made everything else look so much better. And it was just so much easier to pick a tie. Oh my God, not that. I'm gonna get this one. That was a
That's
crazy lesson as well, right? Learning it early. So anyway, and then I entered the stock market when I was a junior. Then I graduated. And when I graduated, I was like, what am I going to do now? I don't know what business to start. I don't really have capital. A lot of the money I made, I used up to go out and go on dates and just have a good life. And I saved quite a bit, but I also didn't have enough substantially to start a business, right? So I decided that I was going to work corporate. So my first job was in advertising. I worked there for about 3 or 4 months, and then I moved to marketing. So I joined Unilever for about 5 years, and I worked here and in China. And then after that, I joined M&A, mergers and finance for Danone. My job was to look for companies to buy in Asia, particularly Philippines and Vietnam, right? So I felt that was my master's program. I had advertising, I had marketing, and I had finance. That's my pillars. And then from there, I just one of those things, right? Like I always had a notebook in the in my back pocket. Like ideas, right? I remember I wanted to, wag niyong nakawin to, I wanted to have a hot dog business, like like the Sabret of New York before Sabret came here. And I remember I named it Doggy Bag, right? And just ideas like that, right? Wanted to be in games like the dictionaries of this world. And always that, right? Always writing. And then, fate, I don't know if you've heard this before, but you know how everyone says, oh, sinuwerte ako, I got lucky, right? So my definition luck, it's actually three things. It's a combination of chance, um, skill, and hard work, right? So it was just one of those moments where I went to a party. This guy just talked to me and said, hey, I got this startup. Do you want to join? So when I reviewed this, just random, like he just, hey, Jason, how are you doing? It's been a while. I got this startup. Now that you're here, right? So there's the chance, there's the opportunity. And then hard work, I went into it. I kind of studied it and I go, parang pwede to, right? And then I remember I was married already. My wife was pregnant and we were going to have our eldest child, Joanna. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is a good time to do this. I was 25, 26 years old. Should I do this? So I remember, so again, entrepreneurship for me is about risk reduction. So I remember talking to 3 headhunters, right? Saying, okay, guys, I'm going to embark on this startup. If this doesn't work in 48 months, can you get me a job? Still, right? Can you make sure I'm still employed? And they said, Jason, matagal yung 48 months. Baka 12 months lang, 1 year. I can still get you a job. Ako, 12 months? Pwede na ba yun? Baka kulang. So anyway, we agreed to 18 months. 2 of them said yes. The other one said, there's no way, it's too long. So I took that. Parang may baon ako, diba? So plan B, right? Plan B, plan C. So I did it. I joined the startup, which is called Act Media. That was 26 years ago. And it worked out. On the 5th year, I decided to. So anyway, between that, I actually went back to teaching Ateneo, right? I taught seniors on their second set because I felt like that was probably gonna be the one that's gonna make the biggest impact on where they work. And so I taught brand management, which is really could be anything, right? And I remember going to a meeting in Unilever, right? And I remember they made me wait 1 hour in the lobby, right? I'm always friends with guards, right? And when I go there, I have reserved parking. It's so hard to get parking there. But the guard was like, hey, ako na susunod. And then after 1.5 hours of waiting downstairs, I finally went up. When I got up, assistant brand manager, 24, 25 years old. I kept presenting, right? My laptop, click, PowerPoint. And then she kept looking at me and saying, sir? I go, oh my God, why is this client calling me sir? Right? I think at that point, I was 32 years old.
Student.
He goes, do you remember me? I go, oh my God, you look so familiar, I can't place it. She goes, sir, I was your student. Like, oh my God. Ba't mo ako pinahintay ng Yeah, and then this happened again and again. And I think after the nth time, and actually that time it happened, she was the assistant brand manager of Close Up. I wish I could remember her name because she was very instrumental in my life, right? So luck again, chance, hard work, and skill. So I decided I went home and I told my wife what happened. And I said, I think I'm going to hire a GM. This can't keep happening. It might be bad for business. Because one of the guys I met, he was now in Pure Foods, came up to me and said, sir. So every time someone says, I go, oh my God, here we go again. Do you remember me? I was your student. I go, yes. Really tall guy, plus 6'1". Said, sir, you gave me a C. Like, okay. No words. What am I supposed to say now? Can you book as a client? So I told my wife, I think this has to stop, right? So that's when I decided to hire a GM, right? After 5 years of running it. And then my wife said, what are you going to do? It's an almost Dr. Evil kind of way. I said, anything. Right? So that's what happened. I hired someone from a batch below me at Ateneo also. His name is JV. And he did much better than me. He grew the business even more than I would grew the business. So we were growing during my time. We were growing like 200-300% year on year, and he got it growing at 300-400% year on year, which is crazy, right? So I, for the first 3-4 months, had nothing to do. I remember one time I went to work, and he said, "Jason, can I talk to you?" I go, "Sure. What's up?" He said, "Can we go to your room?" I go, "No, seryoso na to ah." I go, "Sure, let's go." And he said, "Can I ask for a favor? Can you stop attending the meetings?" It's like, what? Kasi I'm the GM, you're there, you're the, parang, sino kakausapin nila, magulo. So even going to the office, I like, what am I supposed to do? I'm 33, 34 years old. What am I like? So I had free time. So what else am I supposed to do? I started other businesses, which led to another, which led to another, which led to another. So bringing me to where I am today, I have sold 3 companies. I oversee 6 operating companies. I used to invest in startups, but I've learned the hard way that it's a numbers game. There's just so many elements that go in a startup, from the entrepreneur to the timing, to the MVP, to the pivoting, to the just the market force. There's just so many things. Not everything is easy to control, and I can't control as a investing. They don't work for me, right? And I can't handle too many people anyway. So I've outsourced my investing in companies to two groups, one in Singapore and one in the US. And then in turn, they're the ones who invest for me. And it's a numbers game. That's why it got to over 100 companies, because the total fund, which is in the millions and millions of dollars, invest in, yeah, a lot of companies, in the hope that about 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 of them hit the home run, and then we get their multiples in return. So that's kind of where I am now. My deliver. So I don't run any company. Every business we have, we either have a managing director, a managing partner, or a GM or a COO, and then I just work with the heads.
You know,
Yeah, that
the your story about the necktie, it actually reminded me of what I was doing in grade 10. I remember there was this, like, during when I was grade 10 that year, the Champion apparel. Are you familiar with that? Yeah, the Champion apparel. It wasn't here in the Philippines. And then I remember everybody wanted like Champion socks, Champion clothes. And then there was this one opportunity where I went to Japan with my family for vacation. Then I saw Champion, like a Champion store there. It was cheaper and people would buy it here for way more. So I remember I started messaging my class group chats, the batch group chats. I was asking, does anyone want? And then I started, and so much people actually wanted to buy Champion. So I was like, well, it's very cheap here. I can bring it to the Philippines. So I started to buy some socks, buy some clothes. Then I sold it to like my batchmates here. It was a really fun journey as well. So that reminded, your story reminded me of what I was doing in grade 10.
Yeah. Ito si ano, diba? I'm sure it gave you
Yeah,
energy.
yeah. And then from there, I kept, the energy, it kept me going, going, going. So it was a really fun experience.
yeah. For me, like your story is very inspiring, but I'm just really curious to know, like, is it really doable to be able to balance and sort a lot of things out at the same time? Because that's what I'm currently experiencing. I'm currently freelancing for graphic design. I also do modeling on the side. I have this podcast. I'm also planning to start a business. But then when I ask people for advice, they would tell me, some would say it's best to focus on just one thing. The other people would tell me, you're still young. It's best to do a lot of things so you'll know what you're passionate about. What would
Yeah.
be your take on that?
So two things come to mind, Zach. One is, if there's a saying, if you chase 2 rabbits, both will likely get away, right? And the other one that comes to mind is, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So I got to where I am not in one go. So first it was one company, then I got a GM. Then I started fiddling around, then we created another company, then got a GM, right? And ano yun, the gaps there are a couple of years from each one to the next, right? So I'm a believer in focus. I think I can only hold one steering wheel at any given time. And I better be really good at driving that car when I'm holding that steering wheel until I'm ready to pass it off to somebody who's probably going to be as good or even better than me driving that car. So I'm a fan of focus. It's good to expose ourselves to other things. So I kind of dabble in little things here, but I have my priority, right? And my deliverable to our group is I start one new business every year. That's why I'm working on 2 startups. Hopefully they both make it, but maybe only one will make it, right? I don't know. So I don't run the companies. I just work with the managing partners and they report to me and I meet with them once a week or twice a week. That's it. And the rest of the time I'm free. Right. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think it really depends on the person's perspective as well, especially because we're young. Of course, we want to try a lot of things. So, but then it also depends on your goals and objectives. I think other people also have a similar, scenario now. So I think that's my advice also. But I have a question in terms of like startups. Let's say an individual wants to raise funding. Let's say around A, around B funding. What are your tips in terms of like getting that type of funding?
Round A, round B ka na kaagad. Wala ka man sa family and friends or
Or the seed round?
yeah. Wow. How much time do you guys have? When you get into business, because it matters what your objective is. And in fact, Miguel, in life, before I do anything, I really need to figure out what's my objective, right? And like when you guys, what I really appreciate with Zach, Miguel, what you guys did is you told me what your objective of this podcast is, which is to help people as they journey in different aspects or different fields, which helps me understand, okay, this is what I need to do. So it's always good to understand what's your objective when you start a business. Are you there to gain experience? Are you there because you want to make money right away? Are you there because you want to be exposed in industries that could lead to other things? So that really matters, right? Every time you fundraise, you lose a little bit of your shares.
Yeah.
And it could get to a point where you will have to, non-controlling to a point where it's non-controlling. And then what? What's your exit? Like what do you want to happen? So there's the type of businesses where it's, you want to own it because these are the generational businesses because it's making money and you just keep growing it and owning it and owning it and you own pretty much either all of it or majority of it, right? And then there's the startup naman, the second type, which is let's build this so we can sell it. So we need to have the right VCs come in, we need to have the right partners coming in, and we need to build this story so that we can be sexy enough for companies A, B, and C. What really matters, what your objective is. So if you want to go the second route, then you got to design it in such a way where you're attracting the right people. And Miguel, there's good money and there's bad money, but that's another conversation. So I'm not going to go into that.
I love that. Yeah, but then let's move back a bit from the funding. What I'd like to ask is, when would you know that your idea for a business is good? Because well, from my research, I know that technology is booming in our generation, and there's so much innovation involved with technology. You can do so much, and it's barely explored yet. So, how do you know if an idea is good? You should start it. Because some people also say an idea is good if you're passionate about it or if you love doing it. But at the same time, it might not be right for the market now. Like what you said, the timing might be wrong.
Yeah, great question. So the way we tackle that is we test and then we test. And then after that we test. And then after that we test. And we keep testing until we get to 100 million, 200, 300 million, right? So again, my definition of entrepreneurship is all about risk reduction. So our first test, we'll try it with about 10, 20 people, see what happens. If that works, or we come up with a 2.0, diba? Now we'll test it with 50 people and see what happens. Then we'll improve it again. Or kung wala talaga, okay, let's go back to drawing board, right? Start with another, we'll pivot, we'll go somewhere else, we'll do a 1.0 again. And then from the 2.0, if it works, from 50, let's try it with a couple of hundred, maybe 500. And if that works, it's gonna get a life of its own name. Yan na, tuloy-tuloy na. And then sometimes you can't stop it because people are gonna hear about it. And tuloy-tuloy na, right?
But
That's.
But let's say this person starting his business or her business just got out of college, so he or she doesn't really have, that plethora or that amount of money to do all these testings. What would be your advice for that?
Well, it's a hard question to answer, Zach, because it depends on what the business is and how much money is needed, or is there a creative way to create an MVP, minimum viable product, in a way that you're collaborating with someone, but you're gonna pay them once X and Y are met. There's always a way, right? There's always family and friends, right? There's always, you can either raise money through family and friends. You can also raise money through borrowing, right? Or, Tito, I'll borrow from you, I'll pay you back, I promise, pinky swear, right? or you fundraise from professionals, right? I'm a fan, Zach, of the stories of like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, drop out of college, go, you can do it, are great stories, right? And they're sexy. What a wow, against, right? The reality is they're probably 1 in 100 million. So if you or the other people, if you're that 1 in 100 million, you gotta go that route, right? I'm not. All right. I need time to figure things out. And and there are two types of for me, Zach, there are two types of entrepreneurs. There's the home run hitter, right? This is it. I'm gonna swing for it. It's a home run, right? And there are base hitters. I'm gonna get to first base. And once I'm in first base, I'm gonna make sure I'm solidly planted here. And I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna get to second base. So I'm a base hitter, right? So again, is one better than the other? It depends on you. What are you good at, right? What works better for you? So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
In relation to what Zach asked as well, like let's say someone wants to start a business of their own, but they don't have capital and they can't even ask their family. They don't want to give, the family doesn't want to give that person money, or their friends don't want to lend them money. Do you recommend that they go corporate as well so that they can build their own capital?
That's what I did, right? I went corporate as well. I wanted to. So this is something I learned in. So I went to 2016 to 2018. I went to HBS, and on my second year there, I learned that 72% of companies that survive 5 years, right, which is a big landmark. Because first year, drop off. Second year, third. If you survive 5 years, chances are medyo okay ka na. Right? 72% of those companies are either run by or owned by someone from that industry. And it makes sense, right? Kasi alam na niya. They know the words, they know the metrics, they know the people, they know the gaps, they know what's missing or what's oversupplied. So I kind of like that idea of going into corporate, especially an industry that you're curious about, right? If you want to learn e-com, join an e-com company and then figure it out. And you're getting paid pa. Think about it. You're figuring it out. You're doing, there's integrity in the work, right? You got to do the work, learn it, and then at the back of your mind, have a back pocket or have a on your phone, iba na ngayon, of ideas that you can do.
Because there's a lot of, what we realized actually in our generation, there's a lot of people, like young people, who want to go straight to making a business, but they don't know anything about it. They don't have the money to do it as well, and many other factors. So that's a very good advice as well.
Yeah. In the same scenario with what Miguel just said, like let's say he has no capital. I am actually a really firm believer, and it's something that I actually want, and it's a mentor. So would you rather go corporate or look for a mentor and tell him, hey, I'll work for you for 3 months for free. I'm willing
Good
to
question.
do everything. 3 months, I'll work for you for free if the work that I put in is something that your employees now can't do, then yeah, hire me. Why not?
I'm a big believer in mentorship. Um, so I have 11 mentees, right? I also have 3 mentors. And the longest standing mentee I have, his name is Gino. He's also from Ateneo. He heard me speak when he was a freshman. Then he heard me speak again. It was the same talk. It's the same story. I can't change the story, right? When he was a junior. And what he did was he ran me down the parking lot and he said, I really resonate with your story. Can we have coffee together? And that I go, sure, right? And that relationship was built. And I was more of a bouncing board to him, like, what do you think of this? What do you think? He never worked for me. And to this day, we're still in touch. So he's been my mentee now. He's married now. He's a father. Yeah, I would say it's almost 20, yeah, maybe 17 years or 20 years. I'm a big fan of having a mentor. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to work for them. So I don't work for my for. I'm a mentee as well, right? I don't work for them, but I can turn to them for what do you think it is, right?
And it's actually a true saying that I don't think a lot of people realize. Like it's the same saying with coaches have coaches as well. Like let's say your fitness coach, I'm sure they also have a coach, and that same scenario goes with mentors. So yeah.
Hmm. I have a question when it comes to my one of my personal long-term goals, which is, generational wealth or financial freedom. What would you say is one of the best routes to, achieve that goal right out of college? Because I know there's investing, also, building your assets, businesses.
So when I was 23 years old and I was on my way to China, right? I was gonna live there and work there for Unilever China. I remember sitting down and said, "What am I trying to do?" But again, going back to so one of my first principles, guys, is I will find what I seek, but if I know not what I seek, I may never find it. It could hit me in the head, and I don't know that's what I'm right.
Yeah.
I might not recognize it. So when I was 23, I remember sitting down in my best friend's office, and I said, "What am I trying to do? Where am I going? What? I'm leaving my girlfriend here. I'm gonna be all alone there. What the hell? There's nothing in China, right? It was 1993, right? Or very different times. And then I wrote down a target, Zach. Like when I turn 55, I want to have this much. I want to live in this place. I want to drive this car, right? I want to have pack, 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 pack. And I wrote it down, which leads me to my second principle that I live by in my life, which is to think, write, and tell, right? I think about it. What I really like about thinking is that it's fluid, right? It could go here, it could go there, it could go left, it could move around. And then I write it down. What I like about writing is that once I write it down, I have to pick words, I have to pick numbers, I have to pick dates, right? And what I like about tell is that when I tell someone about it, I don't know, but this happens to me a lot. I don't know if it happens to you guys. Even before I finish telling someone about it, I'm already self-correcting. Ay, malabo pa to. Ito, I can improve. And then I get feedback from the person, right, who I shared it with. And then I go back to think, right? Then I go back to think, right? I'll think, right? So I do that on and on and on and on and on, right? So those two key principles in my life. When I was 23, I wrote down my goal and then I reverse engineered it. It was daunting. Eh? How the heck am I going to get this? And then I reverse engineered it to every 5 years. 55, sige, when I'm 50, ganito. When I'm 45, ganito. When I'm 40, ganito. When I'm 35, ganito. Then when it got to 30, I made it every other year. I was 23, diba? And when it got to 26, I made it every year. And when I broke it down to that, I go, oh, kaya to. Right? And then it also made me realize that if I stayed in Unilever and I was getting promoted fairly fast, I'm still not going to hit that goal. Right? So here I am, about to leave for China. But in my head, parang, oh my God, I can't stay here. Because if I do, no matter what I do, I'm not going to hit that. So I don't know if that helps you, but it's really about knowing what you're looking for and putting a number to it. Like when you say generational wealth, Zach, how much is that?
Yeah.
And if you can't,
Money, yeah. Yeah.
uh, how are you going to create a plan? Right.
So it's more on creating, you have your macro goals, and of course, you also have your micro goals. What are the small steps that you have to do to achieve that big goal? Yeah.
Okay, so Zach, he mentioned his long-term goals. So for you, Tito, what's your what can you define success as for you, in your opinion? What's success?
Wow, I love that question, Miguel. It's almost like I seeded it, which we did not, but I'm glad you asked it. So I remember in one of my classes, I think in my second year, I said, "Hey, give me names of successful people." Right? I asked my class, and then they gave names of people who were successful at that time, different year, right? And okay, then I go, "All right, guys, get data and get 1/4 sheet of paper." I don't know if you guys still do that. I go,
Yeah.
and I want you to write down how success looks like for you. Like, give me a point, an age, a time. So again, specifics, right? Give me an age that you're successful na, and tell me what you're doing, how a day in your life looks. Where's your office? Do you go to the office, or how's that look? And Miguel, the answer of each person, if you can guess, is different from the next one to
Right.
the next one. And it was not even close to the people that we said who are some successful people, not even close. Because the successful people named were Michael Jordan, singers, athletes, actors, tycoons, and yet everyone's success a day in my successful life was nothing like that and so different from each other. So if your question to me is how do I define success, it doesn't matter because your definition of success will be different from mine.
Yeah.
And it matters that you know how yours will look. So to answer mine, just to answer mine, this is very personal now. I want to live a life that matters. Um, in my first year at HBS, I met an Indian classmate who, ano siya, he's one of those guys with a perfect mustache,
Yeah.
right? And when I first met him, yeah, his name is Manu. I kept staring at it. I go, "Do you wake up like that?" Right? Like, how do you? And he told me that there are four stages. He's Hindu. There are four stages, and you can learn from anywhere, right? There are four stages in everyone's life. And the one I remember the most, he said, "Jason, we're born naked, and we're gonna die naked." Right? And then going back to your question, Zach, about generational wealth and security and all that, what I realized is that I don't really own anything. When I die, touch wood,
Yeah.
right? I will. Not the question of when. The watch I'm wearing, the car I'm driving, the house I'm living on, it's all going to go to somebody else.
Right.
So it becomes, what do I really own then, right? So my definition of success is I want to have a life that mattered, not materially, but I want to be a beacon of light. I want to Savior, right? Lushat looks like let your light shine. And I remember when I was ending our program, the head of the HBS, it's called OPM, the head of owner, president, manager, the head of the program said, before we end, I want to leave you with two words, right? The first word is confidence. And I want to leave you guys with the same two words. Be confident because Ateneos prepared you, your parents have prepared you, your friends have prepared you, your experiences have prepared you. You know what you can do. So have the confidence to go out and do it. Go, risk it. If you make a mistake, say you're sorry and do it better. But acknowledge it. There's integrity in the work. So he said, go out in the world and be confident. Do what we've equipped you with it. And the second word he left us with is humility. But go do it with humility, right? Go do it with a learner's mindset. For me, there are two kinds of people. There's the kit and there's the lit. The kit is the know-it-all. Ganito lang yan. And then the lit is the learn-it-all, right? Be a lit. Be lit, right? Be a light that shines. Learn it all. Have the humility to keep learning. Have the confidence to keep trying. You will make mistakes. But if you're a lit, you're going to keep learning. You're going to keep figuring it out and do not make the same mistake, right? Because life is like that. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same lesson. And you're not going to move on until you figure it out so you can get to your next lesson, right? So, yeah, I want my life to matter. I want, hopefully, I really see business now that I'm at this age as a tool. The business I own, when I die, I'm not gonna take it with me.
Yeah.
Right? So I want my work to be my prayer. Right? I learned that from my partner Paul, who I just had lunch with today. That my work can be my prayer. That my work can be what I offer to God to make other people's lives better. So in fact, in our organization, Laborem, the one word we have is better. That hopefully through the time you spend with us, and I acknowledge some people will come and go, that you can become a better accountant, a better salesperson, a better operations person. But apart from that, become a better father, a better mother, a better boyfriend, a better girlfriend, right? A better son, a better daughter, a better Filipino. So if I can do that, if I can impact people in a good way and make them better versions of themselves through the work that we do, then I think, Miguel, I would have lived a successful life.
I like how you mentioned like everyone has a different like how they see success is very different for each and everyone. And I like everything you mentioned about integrity, humility, because when I was like reading about Laborem, like that's the values that the company upholds, and I like seeing that you're modeling that culture even outside the organization. So that's really great.
Yeah, we take our values very seriously, and every single person who joins us, Miguel, has to have all four values. And in return, I expect them to have it, right?
Yeah.
And in return, I want them to expect it from me, and even hold me to a higher standard, right? And make me accountable for it. Walk the talk.
Yeah, for me, I just have one last question before we can wrap up. First of all, I really like what you said about creating an impact, because to me, I really think entrepreneurship is, and creating businesses is when you don't think about the money, but it's more on how many lives can you impact? How much people can you know, put meaningful experiences and build relationships with these people. But for my question, how are you able to sort of balance career and love? Because I don't know, when I look at successful people, like let's say Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, yeah, they're really successful, but then, well, at least what the media presents, like, they all, divorced, annulled, or like
Yeah.
broke up with their families. And well, for me, I want to be successful, obviously in money, because that's how I'll build freedom. But I also want to be rich in my relationships with people, because I think that's more meaningful. And with becoming successful, I really think you have to grind all the time and work day in and day out. But then, how are you able to, you know, give time to your relationships?
Oh, I love that question. I'm glad you asked it. You guys ask really great questions, huh? You guys are good at this.
It's a
Um,
clubhouse.
so I created the decision matrix, Zach, where I will make decisions in this order of priority. First is God. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. And then as a husband, and then as a father, and then for my family, and then for my friends, and then for my work. So I will make decisions based on that order. And that is the order of priority by which what is important to me, right? So it's God and then my wife. I want to serve my wife. I want to make her live a good, happy life. I can't be responsible for her happiness because she's got a part to play in it. I can't do everything. But I don't know if you guys are familiar with the language of love. Like there's the bus for some
Yeah.
people it's words, for some people it's touch, For some people, it's time. For some people, it's gestures, right? So my wife's language of love is time. So one of the things I learned from Paul English, the founder of Kayak. I don't know if you guys know Kayak. So ganun din. He has so many companies. He founded 3 NGOs and working in a startup. He color coded his calendar, where work is a color, personal is a color, family is a color. He only has 3 colors. I have 5 colors. And then in 1 week, I can see if I'm living a balanced life. If it's all work color, then that means I'm doing something wrong. So in that one snapshot, I can see, right? But I will make decisions based on that. So this last point on this, my wife's language of love is time. So every morning from 5, I'm a part of the 5 a.m. club. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. From 5 to 7:30 is my time with my wife. Everyone's asleep, it's just us. And then every day at 5:30 p.m., finished or not finished, I stop work. And then I go back to my wife because I want to have time with her. And then every meal is with my family. So I can make cuento, how's your day? So even before the pandemic, I would always come home for dinner, even if I had a function. I would go to the function and then leave the function, come home, eat dinner, 30, 40 minutes, then go back to the function. And a lot of times, Miguel, Zach, they don't even know I left.
Really?
They're not, yeah, right?
I really like the decision matrix that you mentioned, because I remember I had a conversation with one of my good friends, Andres. We were having lunch one day and we were talking about the stuff that are important in our lives and what we prioritize. And then I remember we were having that conversation, and it was like, for me personally, it was God. And this point of my at this point of my time, so it's God, family, and then health, and then work. So that was my matrix, and I think that's something that the listener should also take and try to do. Like, look for something, list down your priorities, and then that way you can balance it out, and then every day you can feel you can feel fulfilled if you actually follow that matrix. So I think that's really good.
If I can add, Miguel, because you say feel the every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've adopted, especially with this whole pandemic, right? I've adopted that mindset that I want each day to matter.
Yeah.
And if this is the last thing I'm gonna say to my wife, if it's the last thing I'm gonna say to Joanna or to Javi or to Hokin, how would that be, right? So I want each day to be a good, great day, right? So yeah.
And the
That was
saying
I
is
love
true.
that.
And the saying is really true. Like, life is actually very short, and you don't know when your last day is. So you have to make each day matter, and you should make each day worthwhile. Tell the people that you love them, and create keep building relationships with people, because that's what's truly important.
yeah.
Definitely. So yes, Jason, this has been a very amazing, wonderful episode. I learned so much. I gained so much value from you. But to wrap everything up, what is one advice that you would like to give someone who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur, a businessman, or advice, any advice in general, for life?
Yeah. One lang talaga eh. No?
One.
I think if I had to pick one right now at this very moment, it would be think now of the person you want to become. Think about it, write it down, and tell someone about it. And then once you, go back to thinking, writing, and telling, and then work your way towards being that person, right? Whether it's a path to entrepreneurship, how many businesses you want to have, creating generational wealth, prioritizing X, Y, but write it out. Who are you trying to become every single day as you take a step? What direction are you taking that step towards? And if you know what you're looking for, going back to my first principle, if you know what you're seeking, you will find it. You will find it. But if you don't know what you're seeking, there's so many people I know in this life na parang, yeah, I hate my job. I hate parang, did you just wake up and realize it now? Parang you kind of need to know 5 steps away how that's gonna look, so that it's how you want it to look. right? Because don't play there's two kinds of people, right? Lifters and leaners. Leaners are people who just want to complain, complain, complain. And lifters are people, come on, let's do something, right? So don't complain, figure it out and let's walk this way because this is the person we're trying to become.
I love that advice. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also really like how you said to, note down on who you want to become. Because that's what I actually did also earlier this quarantine. I was writing down all my goals, all my long-term goals. I would like read it out every morning or I'd look at it like my vision board. And I think that constant practice actually, helps me take one step towards it, even if it's just a small step. Because I think if you just keep it in your mind all the time, it'll affect the decisions that you do every day. Like if it's in your head, oh, I want to be this person, then, oh, should you play a video game or watch a movie or should you work? So I think that's
Or listen to a podcast or your Clubhouse, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like to everyone listening, would you rather listen to music or listen to the Clubhouse and like learn so much values, right? But yeah, like also me, I also like one of the values I always uphold in my daily life is to always think long term. And when thinking long term, you get to strategize and plan what you want to do, what you want to be, and everything. Like you'll be able to at least you have a clear path, and in case that path goes wrong, at least you plan for it, and you can, in case you go sideways, it's still okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then one
yes.
last thought about time, right? God is so fair that he gave Bill Gates, right? Mark Zuckerberg, Zach, and Miguel 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week. You're all equal. They don't have more time than you, right? So we all have the same. That's why every time somebody says, I don't have time,
Yeah.
it's a choice, right?
Right.
A choice. How much time did you spend on Instagram or TikTok or eating or sleeping or whatever, right? And figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's one of the
really-
things that we always remind the Clubhouse listeners. Like, learn how to manage your time wisely. You have to manage your time wisely, and that's why list down your priorities, and from there, yeah, you can start.
And listen to Zach and Miguel's podcast.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, Jason, this has been an amazing episode. One of my favorite ones by far, by a landslide for sure. So, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna make a shameless plug. Any of you out there, if you want to work with us, visit our website Laborem. Come work with us for a bit, for a long time. If you want to make an impact, yeah, let's work together.
Yeah.
Love
Check
that.
it out. Yeah.
And Tito, we also ask where people can find you in case they want to
Yeah.
reach out.
LinkedIn would be the best way. Message me there.
Yeah. We'll also.
I spend more time on LinkedIn combined, more time on LinkedIn than Facebook and Instagram combined.
Yeah. We'll also
Alright.
add your LinkedIn in our posts.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason, for your time and everything. And to everyone listening to the Clubhouse, if you guys love this episode, don't forget to share it to your friends and families. If you guys know anyone who's aspiring to be a businessman or entrepreneur, then this episode will definitely help them out. And to everyone listening, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and our Spotify. Again, my name is Miguel Mendoza.
And I'm Zach Pena. See you all next week for another exciting episode. It's with Kule Desma. For all you future musicians, vocalists, artists, for sure you'd want to listen to that one.